Alright, so welcome back. In our last video, we created our model to hold our meal items. And we can go here and look at our meal items. And we have seen that model shows up. We verified that it shows up here within our models database structure. So if you get this far, you see your meal item is the models here. Now we're going to create a form view that so we can actually see this meal item, because by default Odoo will give us a form for our meal, but it breaks down and when it's time to show the many to one that's under it, and that's here, our item IDs. So we want to get our item IDs showing up inside of our meal form. But first we need to get a meal form that's our custom meal form, because right now Odoo's just providing us one from scratch that just gets generated by this action. So we created an action for our meal, but what we haven't created is any kind of form. But we've got one up here we've already created, as you can see right here, for our product template. Now, we're just going to copy and paste this so we have a template to work from. We don't want to have to always start from scratch. I always encourage copying and pasting as part of your development process to save you time. It'll reduce errors. So I have a record ID here that is for our Diet Facts product template form view, the one that we made earlier, but now we're going to change it so it'll be our meal form view. Just like we have our meal action down here, and we have our meal menu down here that has a meal action, and then we have a meal action Diet Facts. What we just need right here is a meal form. So we can just say Diet Facts meal form view. So that's our record ID. It's real simple. And in this case, we don't need to inherit from anything. We're creating our own view from scratch. So we get rid of that. And for our model, let's take a second to pause for an exercise, a little bit of an exercise here, and say, what do you think needs to go in the model here for our meal form view? And take the time to think about this. Don't, really pause the video if you have to think about it much. It's important you understand what you're trying to accomplish here, and you're not just following the video. You're trying to create a form for the menu that we created a model for. And so we can jump over here to our model and see right here. It's called res.users.meal. So I can copy it and paste it right in here. That is the model we want. And how can I also verify that? That's the same model we're using in our action for meals. So the res.users.meal is the form view we're working on. This is the model. Now, in this case, when we made our form view, one of the things it looks like we're missing that I usually have in there, and I'm just going to add it back in, is and it's not complaining, but maybe in version 8 it would, but I've usually had this, and it was in my notes, is a view underscore type form. And we need that. It's maybe because we inherited, we wouldn't need it up here, but I'm including it in this one that we're working on. And so now we don't, in this case, need to have a after, because we're building this from scratch, correct? But we need the arch in there, and we need a form like this, a form tag. So this tells Odoo that this isn't a tree view or a Kanban or something else. This is a form view that we're working on. And we know we want the name. And again, I'm getting these from right here. We need the name, the meal date, the user ID, and the notes. So we're going to skip item IDs for now. So we got name, We got the meal date. Can you remember the others? We got notes. And the other one is user ID. The name, the meal date, user ID, and notes. For res.usersmeal, and there's the form. And I'm just going to include those for now. We're going to save all. And let's go ahead and restart our server. Control C. And make sure there's no errors in our XML. No errors. I see. Includes unknown fields view type. So maybe we didn't need that view type in there anymore. Let's see what happens when we click on this and this. Notice how now we don't have the look we want yet. We're going to have to do a little bit more here. But you can see how our form is showing up. We can hit edit and we can change our name, breakfast meal, our date, our name is there, and our notes. So it's picking up our form. It just doesn't look like the way we want. And one of the reasons is we saw this in one of our other videos, is that if there's no group here, Odoo doesn't know that we want to see our labels. In other words, our labels don't get shown by default unless there's a group tag. So I'm going to wrap this in a group. We're going to save, Control C, up arrow to restart our server. And we'll just click meals and click back again. And now you'll see that our labels show up and that we have the data. Now let's see how quick it is to add our item IDs. So remember, we have this one-to-many. It goes here with res.users meal item, but we haven't been able to see those before. Let's go ahead and see what happens if we just make that field show up here. And I need that Indian. So I'm just adding it in just like as if it was another field, and we're going to examine what the Odoo framework does for us when we just do that. And you'll notice that we have down here item IDs, and there's a created by. If I hit edit, that I can click add an item, and we have to, it looks like that we still got an issue here. Breakfast meal. So we do have an issue. We didn't hook this in right. So let me discard that. But you can see how it made our model show up. So we've accomplished what we needed to there. And so clicking on meals, form, we see our item IDs, and you can see it gives us a way to edit the line item. But we're going to make it look better and improve our form view in our next video. So we're going to clean this up. You can see here that we got our meals, we got our meals, and now our meal item IDs, but we're going to have to make a few changes to get it looking the way we wish.